Okay, in the last video we looked at data processing, especially at the dimensions of the data, the natural input dimensions of the data processors, and how to work with that. So in this video we're going to look at data processing tools that don't change the data but change the way we express the data and the structure of the data. So where the data outputs live, let us change what we can on the axes and things like that. So we'll get started with add dataset, add build dataset, predefined C-scan, I'm deleting that, add dataset, add build dataset, predefined waveform, and deleting that. So let's go to the toolbox and type aggregate, drop that subset, second, and third. Okay, so what we've done there is we've taken the three subsets that were sitting on the two data nodes or data sets there and connected them as if they were in one node. Now, important to know under the hood, you're not copying data, so this is just a reflection of the original data. So it's a pretty light process and it's a good way of tidying and organizing your tree. So as you can see now, I just can walk through these nodes by pressing the next subset button on the GUI, and it's as if they're all on the same node. A good thing to know is the lock task, because that means the next drops will not connect. They'll act and add to it, so you're sort of locked, you're finished adding, and you're ready to go. And this is a very useful tool. Say you've got 5 points on the tree and you want to present them on the user interface together, you can shove them in an aggregate data. So the next tool we're going to look at is the data selector, and drag that one out. And what that does is it goes to the node above it and it selects some of the data outputs but not all of them. So we can say, let's select by dimension, let's select 2 dimensions, and we've got this output here. Now it gives you, because there's 2 that match, there's 2 two-dimensional outputs. Remember, look at the icon there. The square is 2 dimensions, the box is 3. So we can flip between the 2 dimensions there. Or we can say I want 2 outputs, and it'll give them both here, and drag that on again, and we get these arrows and we can flip through them. So that's a useful tool to pick what you want to present to the user or what you want to data process. I can put this onto the third one, and now we're looking at our 3-dimensional data. Okay, so those are tools to select outputs and manage them. There's also tools you can do axes and elements. So I will do the reinterpreter. I will drop that on here. I think I'm going to go back to 2-dimensional data. So that'll put me back on that one. And let's go back to 1 output. And I will split my window, put that on top and that one there. Get our focus on the reinterpreter. And basics, I can put the offset, and I run that. And you see that this axis has gone from starting at 10 to starting at 0. I can do a richer thing. I can put this to 1 as my resolution, call that point, and run that. And you can see this axis has changed again. You can see the options here for the second axis. Say we can start that one at 0, run it. Another useful tool, which is really just a slight variation on the reinterpreter, is the units conversion. And that basically does the work for you. It'll detect the incoming units and pick outcoming units for you. So run that one there and drag that out. And let's put that one in feet. And that one in centimeters. Doesn't really matter. And it sorts that one out. And one final note that's worth knowing about is a pass-through node. It really doesn't do anything, but it just passes the data through. None of these nodes copy the data, so they're light, you know, easy to use. But maybe we could do something like you wanted to block the annotations on it. On the parent node, you could say rename this so that it had a different name, or just have a different point in the tree that you could search for with an equation. So it doesn't seem like it's very useful, but you actually end up finding uses for it. So I think those are some good little nodes that help you organize your tree, help you work with your tree. You'll find lots of different ways that they're useful, and again, they're all light, so feel free to use them. They're not adding copies of the data. Okay, that's all.